Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Behind the Group podcast. I am DJ Keo.
And I am Basil Barrington, and we are back with another review. This time we dove into an anime series on Netflix, and it is called Cyberpunk Edgerunner. This was another. I love anime. It's just
Mm,
like it's so much you can do with it, right? Um,
yeah,
but this
limited
is
budget.
Yeah, oh my goodness, just people sitting down at a desk, right? At a computer.
hmm
The IMDb gave it an 8.4. You think that's on point?
Yeah, that's fair. That's totally
That's
fair.
fair.
I'll give it a 9 though, but I would let the cat out the bag. This anime was amazing.
It was
This was
pretty
really
dope.
good.
I kind of feel that there are a lot of anime shows that have this sort of concept, like people,
hmm
with implants and things like that, right?
hmm
I kind of
Yeah.
think you've seen that before. I mean, almost like
Well,
the animated version of the animated series of Altered Carbon. It was all about implants, right?
yeah. Well,
Hmm.
this is the blueprint. This is the ground floor.
Yeah,
Like this universe, the ground floor for all the stuff we're talking about today, like the Matrix, all the stuff. It
yeah,
was because of this thing. It's like
that's
I think it
so
was a
true.
board game. Is a tabletop game or something like that. That's the started by
Cyberpunk 2077.
yeah, Poundsmith.
Hmm.
He created it. So
Yep.
like all the ideas people have for movies and whatever for what when you get implants in your arms or anything, like, all because of this game.
Mhm.
So this is pretty much the blueprint for everything for how we look at the future and all this stuff right now. It's
Now,
interesting.
now you said something when we were offline. You basically said that
hmm
the Mike Pondsmith, he's a
hmm
black guy. He's a African American, or is he? He's the American.
yeah. He's
He's a
American.
black
Yeah.
guy. So this is the guy who created the board game, and he also has some input in terms of this series as well on Netflix, right?
The overall story. He's
Wow,
heavy handed in this stuff. He makes sure you got
that
to stay
is
on point.
that is so awesome, man. Just like bring in the person who created this, so they can give you the
Mhm.
real, the real, the real.
Yeah. You
Hmm.
have to watch some interviews with him. Like this guy, he's really, really smart and
Hmm.
forward thinking about what the future would be like. Because I would say we are maybe 20 years away from this, this universe.
Yeah.
20, 30 years the tops. Like we're
Oh,
not that
really?
far away. Yeah.
Okay.
They're
But
they're
like people
doing that
implants and
that
everything.
Neuralink. Yeah, the
Hmm.
Neuralink is going on right now. Once
Yeah.
they fix the Neuralink, all that implant stuff is good to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we're almost there with the Neuralink. It's
I am
real
not.
close.
I am not sitting in the pod with an IV on. No, it's not happening,
Well,
buddy.
yeah, this I've wondered about this stuff with the. We can talk about the show later, but I've always wondered like what would make people want to get because they call it getting chrome or whatever. Like, what would make people want to remove their regular functioning arms and replace it with robotic arms? Like, what would make that be the norm? Like, what would it take for that to be the norm for everybody? Because, like, in that universe, like, just to go to school, you have to get an implant in your brain. Like, it's not even just like, well, I don't want to do that, participate. I'm going to be normal. Like, you don't have a choice. The whole
It's like
society is built around you getting implants. Like that's the whole society's designed around. And like, what would it take for people to go from I want regular hands to cybernetic hands?
do you think that okay, so you're saying like another 20 to 30 years we're there.
Yeah,
Do you
we're
all
real close.
do
We're
you also
real
think
close.
that most people will be totally immersed in the metaverse or virtual reality in the next 5 to 10 years?
Um, maybe
Hmm.
that's definitely why like Facebook or Meta they bet the farm
Yeah,
on
they're
the
about to
cyber
lose
stuff.
the farm too, dude.
Yeah,
They
I
ain't finna skip it up.
know.
Like, oh,
Yeah,
the
they
farm is
lost.
only $1. I'll take it.
Yeah,
you
they bet
know?
because like it's the future for sure. It's definitely the future. We talked about it with the documentary.
Yeah.
Like this is definitely the future, but I think it's too soon. Like you can't when you do this stuff. It's better to do the Apple model and come out and just perfect it rather than be the first one to make it.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
definitely that's the better business model, if I would say. But this universe where it's just standard. Everyone replaces their eyes,
Yeah,
they
that's
take
it.
their lungs out.
Mhm.
Half their skin is robotic. It's just normal. Just the we're talking about the regular people walking down the street have the implant thing in their neck so they can communicate with everybody. Shard thing.
Mhm.
That everybody has that just by default.
Yeah.
plus the brain implant to connect to it. Like that's just like getting the iPhone. And so you gotta think about it.
Mhm.
What happens in society to make that just we're just gonna do that? That I'm always baffled by that question. I don't know what the answer is. What it would take for society to just go from because that's a hard left. To I
Dude,
don't need my brain. Like just put my brain in the body somewhere.
Ghost in the Shell had the same thing where they, connected to the
Mhm.
back of the neck, and I was just like, okay, so this is pretty standard in this sort of universe, in
Yeah,
this
yeah, yeah.
genre,
That's a thing. That's definitely a
Wow.
thing. Matrix
Wow.
same way. Like it's a thing.
So this joint was created in Poland and also Japan, right?
Yeah, so like Mike Pondsmith created the game, then
Hmm.
wrote some books, and then sold part of the rights to Project CD Project Red for the video
Hmm.
game that came out. I think it was last year or the year before. And then I guess this anime company built it based off of the game. This is based off the game.
Yeah.
So cool thing about this anime is that if you're playing the game, you can go to all the locations in the anime. They're
Wow.
all actual places in the game. You can see
Wow.
they
That's
look
dope.
exactly the same. Yeah.
So you can like hang out in Night City.
You can go hang out in Night City and go to like where they like the Afterlife Club, that's a real place in the game. The Osaka Tower is real, obviously, because they're protagonists. Like the place where they're getting the drinks from, those are all real places. Like
Wow.
you just drive around and go see it in the game. And that's what happened. A lot of people did. And then the game just shot up in sales. Right up in sales after this.
According to just like what I've been reading, Night City is located in California, right? So
Mhm.
this is it's all of this was like supposed to be in the state of California. So I'm just
Yeah,
like,
it's a
wow,
mega
okay,
city in
right.
California.
So
Yeah.
it's just basically corruption, cybernetics,
Yeah.
addiction, all of this stuff, implants. I started watching. I watched like maybe 15 minutes of the first episode of this
Mhm.
series about 2 weeks ago. And I was like,
Mhm.
oh, they got like animated sex in here. I'm not watching this garbage, right? So I put it down.
Yeah.
Right. I was
Yeah,
like, this is
yeah.
like who's watching who's watch first of all, who's watching porn?
Mhm.
Second, who's watching animated porn?
Mhm.
Right. And I was just like, oh no, no, I'm not even into this, dude. I was like, I put it down. And then when you were like, yo, let's check it out, I was like, okay, so they gave you a little bit of that, like the first episode and like a little bit
Yeah,
of
but
the
it's not
second
really what it's
episode.
about though.
It's not really what
Yeah.
it's about. But if this world is 20 to 30
Mhm.
years away, that's how people will be enjoying, you know,
Yeah, exactly.
sexual activities, basically, just like in virtual reality, basically, just an
Mhm.
implant, and then you just have is. I'm like, wow, this is. I don't know, man. You were talking about something when we did the
Mhm.
last review, and it was just like, shooting on camera or DJing with vinyl. There's nothing
Mhm.
like it, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's
I don't know
nothing like the real thing,
whatever implants they're gonna give you is gotta make it better because I don't know.
dude. I mean,
I don't know why you would do anything. I wouldn't mess with it. If you're gonna get implants, that's the only thing I wouldn't mess with.
yeah.
Like I'm not touching anything down here. Everything's good. Leave that alone.
So they were saying basically, you know, Night City is basically divided into, well, state of California is divided into these four different sections. One
Mhm.
section is owned by,
Yeah, the
um,
corporations, the
yeah, mega
corpos.
corporations, so Arasaki and also the rival Militech, right?
Yeah.
Militech had some. I mean, I would love to see a show with Arasaki and Militech fighting each
Just
other.
going
That would be
at
sick.
we
That
we
would be
gotta wait
sick.
for our own corporal wars with
Right. Mhm.
Amazon fighting Apple and they got their soldiers or whatever. We gotta wait for that. Like they were a
Right.
couple years off for that.
Because they kept saying Santo Domingo, and I'm like, oh, they're like in Punta Cana or like the Dominican Republic. I'm
Mhm.
like, oh no, 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 they're like
Oh no,
they're in
that's
California.
California.
Yeah, I'm
That's
like, oh, they're in
California.
California. It's so weird. But the aim of David, who's the main character, and Lucy's
Mhm.
kind of the second main character, right?
Yeah.
Um, the whole thing was to just get stronger, more implants,
Well,
And
because you have to level up to live in that city.
you have to level
That's just
up,
a factor.
but I mean, he didn't level up enough because Adam Smasher smashed him.
Good
Adam
God, man! Adam
Smasher
Smasher
switched
is
him,
a monster.
dude. So he had no way of really controlling like the inhibitors to like tamp down on like psychosis, because that's the whole thing about like leveling up is you will or
Yeah.
can experience cyber psychosis. So
Yeah, so Mike Pondsmith, he did an interview and he's talking about the cyber psychosis, and he's saying like,
mhm,
it's a natural progression if that you keep replacing stuff in your body with the cybernetic chrome, whatever, and you keep putting it in there, and you use it too much, it'll start making you go crazy. And so like it's a factor where you need to get the implants to live in this world, but you do too much and you're gonna lose your mind.
yeah.
And you can see like the what's that guy the fixer. He's got like three eyes on his head. Like,
Oh,
why would you ever
Faraday.
do that? Yeah, Faraday.
Faraday.
Like, why would you? I need three eyes. I don't need two eyes. I need three. I need three on one side. Just fix it up.
When I
Like, why would
heard
you do that?
when I heard Faraday speak, I was like, no, 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 no. This sounds like someone I know, right?
Yeah,
And come to find out, the voice of Faraday was Giancarlo Esposito.
yeah.
I was like, oh, I said, I knew that voice sound familiar. I was like, oh, wow. Okay. So he got a little bag for that.
Mhm.
So, you had the characters, you had David, you had Kiwi, Lucy, you had Maine, who was like the first sort of like edge runner.
Yeah,
Um,
he's like a tank. He's a
yeah, oh
big
my
dude.
goodness, yeah. But he went cyber psychosis and he lost it. And
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
I mean, there is a lot of crime in Night City, dude, with all these like edge runners.
Well, there's crime for regular people, and
Yeah,
there's crime for corpos.
yeah,
So if you live in this city and you just going to work, it sucks to be you. If you're like somewhere in the middle, you're okay. Unless you get immunity from the corporations, you're okay. But yeah, generally living in that city has to suck. Like just thinking about it, like there's no uh future thing that makes future sound awesome. Anything in the
no,
future, you're like, I don't want to be anywhere near any of this stuff. Like, why do I want to live in a city like that where they got machine guns and stuff being blown up, and like if you don't have the right medical thing, they're just gonna leave you there on the side of the highway and just tell you that you don't have insurance. Like, why would I want this? That sounds like an awful future. Like we got to do everything to stop this from happening.
yeah. The explanation of like, what edge runners are, which is
Mm.
edge runners are high tech black market mercenary, also known as cyberpunk. It's like, well, why do we need cyberpunk and edge runner? I mean, it's the same thing, really, right? An edge runner is
Well,
a
they don't
cyberpunk.
call themselves cyberpunk. They call
Yeah,
themselves Edgerunner. Like
yeah, exactly.
it's our name for them.
Yeah, man, this is and it's surprising that I also read some place where they're
Mm.
not doing a second season, dude.
That's a shame.
This is over.
I thought the animation was really good. I liked it. The soundtrack was
The
phenomenal too.
soundtrack was sick, yo. You said something when we were talking that
Mm.
this universe is, I mean, imagine what they can do with this universe if they extended, everything
Mm.
that's popping off. A second season, maybe a spinoff with Militech, a spinoff with like Arasaki or
Yeah.
something like that,
Mm.
just all this type of stuff, it's just like, but they're gonna stop it right now.
That's a shame. I would pay money to see more. I'll be honest. I like the world. I don't want to live in the world, but I do like
Yeah,
the world. I think
I
the
do
world's
like that.
fascinating.
Yeah, I think it's completely fascinating, and how they were just like how David was constantly wanting to like juice up
Mm.
to get bigger, to get stronger, and
It's
every
like a
time he did,
it's a drug. Like to
yeah,
be
it's a
in because
drug.
gotta think about it. If you don't get the updates or whatever, like you could die. So like it's a double edged sword. Like you shouldn't do it, but if you're gonna live this life, you need the upgrades,
Mhm.
and you keep doing the upgrades, you're gonna die. So like it's like a you're gonna lose. It's like a short life. I think it's like a being like a drug dealer. Like it's a short life. You're not gonna really live your life and make your way up to the corporate ladder or whatever. And you can see like from Faraday's way, he was trying to work his way up into the corporal and get it
Yeah,
to
right.
Arasaki, and
Hmm.
they're like, "No, you don't belong here. Sorry,
You don't
bro.
belong here,
Let's get out of
dude.
here.
Hmm.
take your money and get out of here. You don't belong. Like that's wild when you
Exactly.
think
And they
about
ended
it.
up killing him too, right? He
Yeah.
died too, right?
Well,
Yeah.
David killed him.
Mhm.
He could have just taken the money and bounced, but he wants to be part of the because once you're part of the corporation, like your sky's the limit. Your life is great.
Yeah.
Unless you're the
It's a
fall guy like the other dude.
it's insane. Do you think that this series deserved a 8.4 rating, or do you think is it on point?
I
What
would
do you
give it
think?
a, like a 9.5 or something, man.
Really?
It
You
was
said a
good.
9? Oh
Yeah.
my goodness, dude.
It was good.
When
It
you
was
say
really good.
9.5, that sounds like something that can be like get an award from like the Behind the Groove podcast, like I don't know, anime of like the
I
year or
would
something like that.
listen, this thing was so well done.
It was
Because like
done
when you
well.
were watching it, right?
Mhm.
You cared about what happened to David.
And
He's doing his
Lucy.
thing, like and Lucy.
Yeah.
Like I really
Yeah.
care. Like when Lucy got kidnapped, I was like, no, you gotta
Right.
save Lucy. Like get your
Exactly.
implants, bro. Go save Lucy. Like yo, it's messed up.
Wow.
But like
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Like you when you see a anime or whatever like this or a movie or a show, and you actually care about the protagonist, that you got a quality thing
You're
right there.
invested, dude. You're invested.
You're I was invested.
I was
I
invested.
was just invested. Yeah.
Because when you deal with these TV series, right?
Mm.
Sometimes you're invested, and then once you get to the middle of the show,
Yeah,
middle
like
like middle
eh.
episodes, it's like a lot of walking and talking. It's like with
Yeah,
Kenobi.
yeah.
It's just like
Mhm,
first episode, cool. Everything else beyond that,
mhm.
Leia was the star, basically. It was the Leia
Yeah, it
show
wasn't
for
even
like
his
the
show.
next
It wasn't
5 episodes, right? And then Kenobi came back and
Mhm.
kicked butt. But this here, I mean, it's the way that this show just moved from episode to episode. Man, it was done well. And like you said, it's just people sitting at a computer, typing stuff out,
Yeah,
man, knocking it out. It was like, this is done. I hope that Netflix sees that, you know what? Wow, this show got a lot of good press. Let's
yeah.
give them another chance for another
I say it
episode or
it doesn't
season.
hurt to ask. It doesn't hurt to ask at all. Do
Do
you
you
wanna run
think
down what the story's about? Like, because like, it's such a straightforward story. Like, everything in Cyberpunk is like, you're either a street kid or you're a corporal or
that's
whatever,
it?
like, you're
Yep.
and you start there, you gotta build your way up and then work your way through the storyline. But, like, David is a street kid. Well, no, his mom was working for was it Maine?
Arasaki.
Yeah, she was
But
no,
but
she was a
she was given main like, implants, yeah.
yeah, well she was a first responder
Mhm.
and so I think she got the skeleton thing off of somebody that
Yeah.
died. And
Mhm.
they're paying Maine was paying her and she was going to use that money to send David to school.
Right.
That's
Mhm.
the gist of it. And he watched his mom die like that was sad as hell, man.
Dude, I mean,
Yeah, he's just sitting there
come on.
stuck in the car watching her die. He couldn't do anything about it. And then, being in that world, like getting a car accident is not a big deal considering like everything's like cybernetic. You can just change your arm, you can change whatever
That's it.
if you can afford it.
Yeah.
And he couldn't afford to pay for his mom. So like you can see his path was like, oh, I'm going to war. I do whatever it takes to get money and whatever it's
Yeah.
gonna do. Yeah, you can just see like he's just focused on save people near around me and just make money shooting people. That's his path after that happened. Like he's clearly traumatized, and
Lem
he had to do some dark things too in the show.
Oh my goodness, dude. Basically, he was in high school, right? He was in school. So
Yeah,
he's
he's in high
basically a
school. He's just like
teenager, right?
17. Yeah, he's like
He's
17.
out here 17 years old, killing people, just straight Swiss cheesing people, right?
Yeah,
I have a
mowing
question
people
for
down.
you though.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so we have like all these different universes that we know of,
Mhm.
the MCU, right? I guess DC should have a universe as well, right?
Yeah, they have a
DC
universe.
Comics. Yeah, uh-huh.
Yeah.
Would you also say something like obviously Star Wars has a universe, all this stuff, right? Do
Mhm.
you think that this cyberpunk stuff, right? Do you think that they can like really go hard and create their own universe with like shows like for, the years
Yeah.
on?
Yeah. Because like the video game was a huge hit, even though it was very buggy and people were upset about the
Yeah.
bugs in the game. It was a huge hit.
I would love to
And
see that.
the reaction to this anime has been strong. People like this universe. And So like I definitely people want to see more from it. Like I want to see more from it.
I want to see more, dude. Like when I read that, oh, and there is not going to be a second season, I'm like, but why?
Hmm. Hmm.
You know? I guess that decision was made now. Once it's now that it's released, maybe Netflix will say, oh, you know what, this is kind of dope. Maybe we need to
Hmm.
throw some money at this because the money that they're throwing at a lot of like anime, it's
Hmm.
not great. You know, it's
Yeah,
just
there's a lot of crap, but I
it's
think
the
this it's
screaming
up to
girl, you know.
yeah, like like yeah,
Uh-huh.
it's up to Mike Poundsmith if he wants to do more. Like I think that's really what it is because
Mm,
he's heavily invested into the video game and then he did the anime. So I don't know. I think he's definitely trying to flesh out his world and add more to it besides the books and the board game.
that
He's
would be
trying to
dope,
build this
man.
thing up. In these TVs and movies, they gotta go out, flesh this whole thing out. Because a live action cyberpunk world would be awesome. Right?
I mean, you like the style of animation that they did? You like that style?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It reminds me of was it Akira, the Battle Angel? I can't remember.
Yeah, yeah,
Is it
yeah.
Akira?
Yep. Yeah.
That's
Uh-huh.
that's what it reminds me of.
I
It's
watched that
the
joint
same
too,
kind of
yo.
thing.
That was sick.
Yeah, but it's that same
Mhm.
feel of the cybernetics
Yeah.
and all that stuff.
Mhm.
And yeah, like and there's a hierarchy for the society. The
Right.
rich people are up here, poor people
Mhm.
down there. The
Yeah.
scraps, like it's that same feel of the exact same thing with the battles with the tech companies and whatever. So
Yeah.
yeah, I like that movie. I want to see more of this stuff. All this stuff fascinates me because I'm just a tech junkie. I like that just in general, but the universe is really interesting,
Yeah.
especially from the game.
I would love to see this like just get extended a little bit more, you know,
Mhm,
because it's just it has potential, right? It has potential like the second season, you know,
mhm.
I always say sometimes when we do these reviews like, "Oh, that should have been an animation." Right? That should have been an
Mhm.
animated series,
Yeah,
right?
you got one.
Yeah, you know, because animation is so flexible. You know, it's
Mhm.
like what was the name of that Love, Death, and Robots
Yeah, yeah.
episode we saw that had like the steampunk animation, that sort of style, remember?
Oh,
You
I
know,
can't remember which one it
they were
was.
like on an ice planet. You know, they were like
Yeah.
you know, they were there to mine ice.
Mhm.
That was really sick. I was like, I've never seen that style before ever until I saw
Yeah.
that, right? And then I'm looking at that, I'm like looking at Cyberpunk, I'm like, I love this style here. You know, Ghost in the
Mhm.
Shell, I like that style too. You know, Knights of
Mhm.
Sidonia, I love that style. Man, this animation stuff is so huge, man. It's like, and it touches every single person, young people, black, white, all over the place. You know, people just love the
Yeah.
genre, you know,
It goes beyond, like, genres and stuff like that.
and
Because
borders.
another thing
Yeah,
too, you can because the computer technology is so advanced, like, I think that it's so much easier to do this stuff now, to animate these things. It's so much easier. 'Cause
it
computers are way, way more advanced than they were, like, 5 years ago. We're in a different
right.
universe right now.
It is, but you know what? To like really tweak it out, you got to do some coding. I mean, this isn't like a
Yeah, yeah.
2D
Oh, for
interface where
sure.
you dragging and
But
dropping, you know?
but
Mhm.
it definitely comes down to you still gotta be an artist and be
Yeah,
creative to make this thing.
yeah.
And an
It,
anime style for this, like, it was simple but cool. Because
it,
they had like a lot of stuff where it would just be like a scene, and you see in the background, and people moving their heads, but it was
yeah,
just a scene.
yeah,
I liked all that. I thought that was a cool style choice. I know people want everything animated and see everyone's face move or whatever, but like I thought the style of how they did the animation was awesome. Like
yeah,
it was very interesting. I'll put it like that.
yeah. I think you know, did you watch Tron the animated series?
No, no, I didn't see it.
Dude, that's a really that style of
Hmm.
animation is really dope too. That
Hmm.
again, like Cyberpunk, the reason why I bring that up because the style of how it was shot was pretty dope.
Hmm.
They did one season and nothing else. Like the Tron animated series was really dope. But it's just like why wouldn't you come out with a second season?
Yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah.
sad to see like a cyber punk here with Edgerunner because I even thought that the naming convention was Cyberpunk Edge Runner, and then the next one
Mhm.
would be Cyberpunk blah 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 blah. You know, and then the next one Cyberpunk. I
Okay.
mean, do
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know where you can go with this, man? You can have like an entire like franchise, and it's just like Netflix is just shutting it down.
Well, Netflix got money problems, so I think that's probably the factor too.
Yeah, they're like,
They're like they're bleeding subscribers, so I don't think they
yeah,
can afford like the old days. They'd be like, make 20 of them. I don't care. It's whatever you want.
mhm.
Now they're like, okay, let's do one season for this thing out later on. So
Exactly,
I
exactly.
I think that's probably a huge factor, and it's up to Mike Poundsmith if he wants to do another one. But
Right.
I don't know his schedule's like how busy he is with this stuff. But
It's
yeah,
a
I want another one. Mike, if you're listening, make another one.
it is, I'm gonna give you a scenario.
Mm,
It's a Saturday, you have nothing to do, and it's
mm,
pouring raining. It's raining. It's just like it's coming down. It's
mm,
overcast. It's like it looks. It's just. It's one of those days. Would you
mm.
go back into this Cyberpunk and like watch it again?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it was the story is so good.
Yeah. Because I watched this over 2 days, and then I
Yeah,
watched
yeah,
a
I
bunch of other episodes again.
I slammed it and then I watched it again. I
Yeah.
watched well parts of the season again, but
Hmm.
I just went through. I watched it one setting. I watched all the shows and
Yeah.
I just watched a couple of those. But like, it's such a good like just universe. Like I want to see more, man. I don't know, man. We gotta write a letter. Like, what do we gotta do? Like, make Netflix do some more stuff.
That's why
We
I
gotta get
kind of
on
like
this.
Tron the animated series because the universe was
Mhm.
so cool. It's just like, wow, this is really cool.
Yeah,
You know,
Tron's universe is awesome.
yeah. And they had something like an implant or something like that. They had ways to make themselves stronger.
Well, like the implant was in the video game inside
Right.
the
Hmm.
computer world,
Right.
so
And they had to
the
basically
same thing.
buy credits or something to get more power or something like maybe a
Mhm.
faster plane or something like that. So it's like
Yeah.
it's very interesting, man. I really enjoyed this, man. I would definitely watch it again. I would definitely
Mhm.
recommend it. I mean, with these animated series, man, the episodes are like 20, 30 minutes long. I mean, you can
Yeah,
power
it's
through
super
that.
quick.
It's
I would
super
say,
quick.
yeah, at maybe 22 minutes
Yeah,
tops
exactly.
each episode,
Because
'cause that's why I can power through in a day. It was like it's a
you
couple
had some
hours. It's not that
episodes like
bad.
22 minutes, 24 minutes. It's just like,
Mhm.
it's really good. What would you rate Cyberpunk Edgerunner, a Netflix original?
Yeah, I said earlier at 9.5. I'm sticking with that. Like, I think it is such a good show. Like you when you're watching this stuff, you cared about everybody. When Maine died, I was like, oh man, that hurt.
Yeah,
Maine is not even like a great character. He's just like a brute. But like, yo, when he died, he got his hands. I was like, yo, this is awesome, man. I love this
yeah.
show. It's
That
such
is
a good thing.
again, you gave this a 9.5. So, when you rate something, when you give a
Hmm.
rating of a 9.5, this sounds like, a animated series of the year or something like that. Is it that good?
Yes,
Hmm.
absolutely. Everybody who's seen it, I've talked to a couple people who watch it, and they're like, hell yeah,
Yeah.
this thing was great.
I was I was teetering between really a 10 and a
Mhm,
9.5 because this was
mhm.
when you start watching something and you're like, oh, I gotta watch the next episode. Oh, and the next thing you know, it's like
Yes.
6, 7 o'clock in the morning.
Yes, that's what
Yeah.
happened. That's
That's
exactly
what
what
happened to
happened.
me. So I am also giving this a 9.5 because this is a
Mhm,
really good animated series. I mean, I haven't seen like a really good animated series in a long time. I
mhm.
mean, I've been watching some other stuff. I'm like right now watching Exception, which is like really like it's just far out and really intriguing, but
Yeah, I need
this
to
is
check
really
that
good.
out.
This is really
Mhm,
good. 9.5 for me too. And again, I'm giving it a 9.5. This could possibly be my animated series of the year because
mhm.
it's just done so well. And it also feels like, a lot of the right people got together in the same room and made really good decisions,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Just how everything flowed, like just the everything, man. This is a
The
great
story
animated
writing was
series.
good. They
It was
made the
awesome.
good. The characters were interesting.
Yeah.
Everybody was different, so it was like, who's this guy? I don't
Yeah.
care anymore. Like everybody was interesting. They were all useful. They all pushed the storyline forward. Like Lucy's super sympathetic with her backstory and everything that happened to her.
Yeah.
David is sympathetic. Even Rebecca with her crazy eyes and her giant hands was sympathetic, man.
Rebecca was doing it, man. You know what? She was one of those like yappity yappity people, but I was like, I'm
Yeah,
feeling her.
yeah.
You need Rebecca here. You need her here. She's part of the whole like
She was
joint,
the she was the heavy guns, man.
Yeah,
Yo.
Kiwi was serious too. I like how she, just portrayed, like Maine and
Mhm.
David. So that was really good.
Yeah, she
Yeah,
sold everybody out, but she
this
keep
is not,
redemption
and
at
then
the
she got
end.
switched up, So
Yeah, that rightfully deserved. That's what you
yeah.
get.
So like 9.5 for both of us, man. That is
Mhm.
this is pretty awesome. If you have some time on your hand, go check this out because this is if you're
100%.
into animation, go check this out. This is a
This was
really
a
good
good week
animated
of 2
series.
recommends.
It really
Definitely.
is, for real. Well, there you have it. Another episode of the Behind the Groove podcast. I am Basil Barrington.
I am DJ Keo.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And until next time, peace.
All right.